Hey guys, it's Top 5 Wednesday, and this week's topic is your top 5 books that you read before discovering Booktube. So because of Booktube, I've come to realize something. I was starting to feel like I have not read enough books. I've watched a lot of TV and watched a lot of movies, but I've come to realize that I haven't read enough books for me to to be able to talk about this, or at least because I'm able to recall TV shows and movies better than books. That's what it seems like. So, and that's one of the things that BookTube did for me. Not in a negative way, but it helped me. It helps me find a way to read more and to pay attention more to what I'm reading. And, of course, it also helps that I'm now a reviewer for a local magazine. And so that's nice too. That really helps too. But there are a lot, but I have since been more, because of BookTube, I've since read more variety, and I've, got more, BookTube has done a lot for me as far as book-wise, but thankfully I was able to at least recall 5 books that I read that I really loved before I got into BookTube. But actually the funny thing is that the books I had, some of my answers were different than what I'm going to say right now, but I realized that I didn't have those, but I remembered. I knew this yesterday, but I did not have those books with me. And there are some other books I could have, I could talk about. So I'm going to talk about some other books other than the ones that I mentioned originally when I was thinking about this. Okay, so I know a lot of people, they try to avoid this particular series, like there's this unspoken rule that don't mention the series because you can use this series to answer everything for the top 5 Wednesdays. But the thing is though, this series is kind of what really got me passionate about reading. I always liked reading, but this particular series is what really turned me into the fangirl of reading that I am. And it was like the first fantasy series that I ever got into, because I read like Nancy Drew, Goosebumps, which Goosebumps is technically fantasy, Goosebumps, Nancy Drew, and then there was, of course, the kids' books I read, like Amelia Bedelia, Miss Piggly Wiggly, Charlotte's Web, and then there's, of course, the books I read for school, and that's why I read a lot more. That's probably helped too. I was one of those kids who actually read the books. I didn't just skip to the cliff notes or skim through the book. I actually would read the books because I felt like, I would regret it if I didn't actually read the whole book. Although that didn't mean that I paid attention when I read it, because sometimes, unless I actually liked the book, I just, it was just something that I had to do. It was like it would go in one ear and out the other. I would just get them done, like books like, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, or The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I wasn't into those books. I like historical fiction, but those ones were kind of dry, in my opinion. The series I am talking about is Harry Potter. And of course, every kid and their mother, especially if you grew up in the 90s, has read this series. Unless you're just not into fantasy. I loved this series. I fell in love with fantasy because of this series. I became a fantasy fan. Like I said, I read Goosebumps, was the closest I had come to fantasy before Harry Potter. And I enjoyed Goosebumps, but I did realize that in elementary school, I would go to the library, get a book, but I don't think I ever finished it. I don't know why. Now I'm better at that, but I remember when I was a kid, I would buy the books. I would borrow the books from my school library, and I would never finish them. I would read them, and then I get bored which I know, considering that I am a person who's expressed that I am an avid reader and I love reading, but that's why to this day I'm not a fan of going to, I was not until we moved here, where I live now, I didn't like the idea of going to the library, because that meant I couldn't keep the books, and I couldn't take my time with them. Because most libraries, it's like 2 to 3 weeks you get to keep the book. Even though I know you could recheck them out, I didn't like not being able to keep them. Although, and plus, most of the time my library, I could not just unless I was in school, I would have to always drive to the library. Like, it wasn't, and I can't drive. I literally cannot drive. I tested for it once, and the guy that tested me was like, you can't drive. Maybe someday you'll be able to. But that all goes back to all my disabilities. Like, I have, it's part of the disabilities that I have, that I can't be able to, I would never be able to drive. Hence why I want to live in the city one day. But I don't know if that's going to happen. Of course, I know that my family doesn't really want me to. And I think, at least for my parents anyway, it's probably because they just don't know if I'll ever be able to live on my own and be able to afford it. And they think I don't realize how difficult that is going to be. And maybe if it happens, maybe I'll freak out then, and maybe I'll unfortunately prove them right. But I hope not, if it ever happens. But I think with my grandma, it's different. She doesn't want me to be away from my parents, and she also doesn't get why I want to live in the city. Like, she's using the excuses, well, you can't drive, so you can't live in the city. But of course, the only reason that would prevent me from living in the city, the only problem that would cause is I won't be able to visit my parents as much as I would like to. Well, anyway, see, this is my problem. I get off on these tangents and nothing to do with the topic. So, but I love this series. This is, I fell in love with the series when I was like 11 or 12 years old. I was in middle school at the time. I remember when I got the series, we were with friends. It was before Borders went under. Borders bookstore, if any of you remember Borders bookstore. It's kind of the same as like Barnes & Noble and Books A Million, where, it had a cafe, and it was just a nice bookstore. Well, it doesn't have, basically, it's like Books A Million, rewind. Borders is like Books A Million and Barnes & Noble. It's a little different in like their color scheme and the name. It's like a different company, but it's still the same idea. Like a bookstore with lots of books. Sometimes the bigger ones have a cafe with it. But anyway, so we were there, and the girl who's my friend, who was younger than me, she was getting a case for her books, for her Harry Potter books, and I guess my mom saw that. My mom already, I guess my mom saw the books and just looked at and just came up to me and asked when I came back. She was like, "Would you be interested in reading this book series?" And she showed it to me, and I read the summary. Like I said, I'm not a cover buyer, believe it or not. I don't buy books for covers. I know people wouldn't believe that, and yes, I probably do look at the covers and notice the covers. They are the first draw for me. Like anybody else, because it's the first thing you see in most cases. But I will read the title and then I read the summary, like either if it's on the back or in the inside flap. And so I read it, and I felt, I was like, sure, okay, I'll check it out, and I just fell in love with this series. I like J.K. Rowling's writing style. Now I'm a little more particular because I'm a more mature reader, and her writing style sometimes can be a little too simple for my taste. But I still love the books, and I'm currently rereading the series now. I am on book 4, but I've taken a break since I'm currently I'm participating in Readathon, so I have stopped since then. I will come back to it, but I love this series. Okay, so the next one is a two-parter. Like, it's two series by the same author. So I count them as, and like I said, this, oh, by the way, this is in no particular order. This is not in the order of which one I value more than the others. It's just like Harry Potter had to be the first one. This series, I discovered this in Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments and Infernal Devices. I love this series as much as I love Harry Potter. And it was nice because it was a little different from Harry Potter because, first off, it wasn't in the UK, which a lot of fantasy books are, I've come to notice over the years. It's like they have a pen on the fantasy genre, it seems like. Like, every time you watch a movie that takes place in a fantasy world, it's in Europe. And, I love this series. I remember reading it and getting so excited and so invested in the story and the characters. And yes, I'm one of the people who liked Clary from the start. I didn't think she was as annoying as some people, and I still don't. I don't think she's that bad. I mean, she may make dumb decisions, but she's human, and we all would make dumb decisions if we were in her place. And she's impulsive. She's a flawed character. It makes her interesting. It makes her compelling. I mean, granted, yeah, it also makes her annoying for some people. But, I love this series, and I remember when I first started reading this series, I was Team Jace, but I've since moved on, and I am more kind of a Simon fan over Jace. I mean, I'm not saying I would want Claire to all of a sudden dump Jace and go back to Simon. I mean, I'm cool with the ship now, but I kind of, as far as boyfriend material, I think Simon's is a better boyfriend. Okay, one second. This is bugging me. Oh, sorry about that. I have to close my door because unfortunately I'm right in front of the kitchen, so people downstairs, if you're in the kitchen, can hear me. Which kind of bugs me. I'm very shy about this when it comes to my parents. It's something I want to keep to myself and, my friends. I'm glad that Simon has since, that Simon got Izzy. I love that ship, especially because it's very different, because what aggravated me, the one thing that did bother me about Clary is that it's like, of course she's going to choose the hot, sexy, mysterious guy that, has a six-pack abs and is a broody demon hunter. In fantasy that always happens. Like, the girl always chooses the buff, muscular, mysterious, sexy guy, and she never chooses the nerdy guy. And that just always bugged me, so I'm just glad that Isabel, who was, sexy and badass herself, she fell for Simon, towards the end of the series, or the second half of the series, which I just love that ship. And I'm in love with Magnus and Alec. They are so cute, and I love them even more on the show. They are just so, so many feels with those two. Those two are so great, and I'm just so. But I love all the characters except for Alec and Izzy's parents. Their dad was okay, except for the fact that he did a dumb thing. But her mom just got on my nerves. Although when Izzy and her mom started fixing their relationship, I started to like her a little bit better, but I still don't like her. I remember reading this and just falling in love with this world. And it was a nice, different refresher from, the wizarding world. And and then, like I said, this is a twofer, the Infernal Devices. I love this trilogy. And it's nice that it was a trilogy. I have no problem with this being a 6-part series, a series with 6 books. I was not annoyed by that as some people were. I was actually perfectly fine with it. I was cool with that, and I love the whole series still. But it was nice that this was just a trilogy. It was although I really I really love the Shadowhunter show, so I'm hoping that we'll get a little bit of hint of this version of events of the because this was unfortunately historical, which that's one of the things I love about this trilogy is because it wasn't just fantasy, it was historical with a little bit of steampunk in it, with the automatons and stuff. I thought that was cool. I love this series, and I love this trilogy as much as I loved Mortal Instruments. And the extra addition of the whole historical stuff was makes me love it a slither more than Mortal Instruments. And I love the love triangle. I'm more Team Gem, because despite that there's aspects of Will that would make you think, if you know me, you would think that I would fall for someone like that. I would choose Will, but I kind of like Gem. I'm kind of Team Gem. But as Sam from Thoughts on Tome said, it's more the love triangle itself that's great. And I just love, and what's so, it's not just the two guys fighting over the girl. It's, yeah, they're fighting over it, but, it's more like they, Will is willing to let her go. I mean, at first you think he's gonna fight for her, but he cares about Jem so much that he's willing to let Jem have Tessa. And then towards the end of it, when Jem realizes that Will likes Tessa, he is willing to give her up too. So I like how it turns out. I know a lot of people probably think the ending is a little too cheesy and perfect, but I love the ending of this series. She had her cake and ate it too. Which I know a lot of people don't like that and think is a little unfair, but I like it. I was very happy with the ending of this. Because sometimes I do like cheesy endings, especially in my fantasy books. I love Cassandra Clare's work. Now, surprisingly, I have not read the Dark Artifice. I have not read Lady Midnight yet, and I think it's partly because since I moved on from Cassandra Clare's books. I mean, I love her. I still love her books, her stories and stuff, but I've kind of since moved on from the series and gone into other series like Sarah J. Maas's work. I really like. And I still gotta read the Bane Chronicles. I read one story from the Bane Chronicles, one or two, I think. And I think just one. But I do need to get back into that. Okay, so next, I'm going to talk about the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I love this. Another series that I fell in love with. I love the series. I love all the characters. And I'm normally not a sci-fi fan. I would rather watch sci-fi, and even then I can be very picky. But what I like about this is, it was low sci-fi, and it had, it didn't focus on the sci-fi itself. It had, it was about the relationship of these characters in this war that was going on, and them having to fight the bad guy, the evil queen, and Lavana, and it was just, but now, of course, this is not the original, this is actually, this is the series of novellas that comes after, which I do need to read this. And then I think I do want to read, I do want to read the graphic novel, but with graphic novels, because I'm so used to reading regular novels, that because graphic novels cost as much as a regular novel, it's hard for me to, it's regular novel or graphic novel. And I kind of lean more towards a regular novel. But, this is, I loved all the characters. Cress was my favorite book, and I love Cress and Thorn, Captain Thorn are my favorite couple in this whole series, which is, again, another surprise, because you would think I would kind of lean more towards Scarlet and, Wolf, but I kind of love Cress and Thorn's Captain Thorn's little weird, that cute relationship, her cute little crush, and how he's all and he's so charming. He's kind of like the Han Solo, or what's his name from Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord kind of personality. But then he's also like, no, I'm not a good influence for you. I'm kind of a bad one. You deserve better than me. And it's really sweet. No matter, like, and I was so sad when there was in the books, in that, that she was starting to doubt him, but then by the end of the books, he admits that he had fallen in love with her. And I love them. I will ship them. And I love the whole series. I love the first book and the second book, and the third is my favorite, and then the last one. I love that world that was created, and I know I keep saying that, but I don't know what else to say. I'm really bad at this when I don't have time to really think about it. I mean, I kind of did, but, Okay, then the last two books here I want to mention, Okay, so here we have a classic, Gone with the Wind. Another book I read before Booktube, which took me a long time to read, because when it comes to a book this size, especially with this kind of print, it's a nightmare to finish. Because I love the book and everything, but it just took me so long. I'm not even this is one of the times where it's kind of weird, because I've said I prefer like romance as a subplot, but the kind of main plot in this book is the romance. But I think because it's a classic, that helps too. Although I'm not a huge fan of the two Jane Austen novels I've read, which is Pride and Prejudice. I know Sacrilege, and Sense and Sensibility. They were kind of boring for me. But I guess what made this one different is it also was about the Civil War. And, how the South lost the war and how they survived that loss. And Scarlett is such an interesting character. I love, like, Elizabeth Bennet and everything, but, and I can relate to Elizabeth Bennet on some level, like her personality at least. But, like, Scarlett's complete opposite of me. Despite the fact that she's a snob and a bitch and a spoiled brat, she knows what she wants, and she gets things done. And, she's not gonna sit on the sidelines. That's what I love about her, is that she is an aggressive woman, And she's such an interesting character to read about. And I love Gone with the Wind. And I even read the sequel that was written in the 90s, Scarlet, and Scarlet is like written sometime after, I think it's written in the 90s, but either way, sometime way after this book came out. Because this was written in the 60s, I believe, and that one, I don't remember when that was written, but it's not even written by Margaret Mitchell. The ending is great and all, and meaningful and stuff, but Scarlett basically gives them Scarlet a happy ending, which I like. I really appreciate that someone wrote that. But I love Gone with the Wind. And one day, at some point, I'm gonna reread it again. And I'm gonna try to reread it again, like keep reading it all the way through and no taking breaks, of course. Considering the next book I'm gonna mention, the last book I'm gonna mention, book number 5, or a book I read before Booktube. Considering how that one is going, I don't know if I'll ever get this done without taking multiple breaks in between. Because just books like this length, with this, with this print, it's hard to keep my attention. I'm sorry, and it's not that I'm afraid of them, because I've obviously finished them. It's more just, they're so dense, and they have so much information, and the print is so small. I hate the print. It helped that my edition of the book Scarlet, the print was bigger. It was still really, really long, but it helped. It was easier to read despite its density, because the print was bigger. Okay, so the last book that I'm going to talk about here is It. As you can see, I am currently reading it for the second time in my life. It by Stephen King. I really love Stephen King. I haven't read a lot of Stephen King, but from what I've read, I really enjoyed it. I love this book. And that's why I'm a little concerned about the movie that just came out. I am very worried about it. I mean, I don't want to, be like judgmental of it because I want to give it a fair chance. But I can't help it. I'm just like everybody else. I get very wary when they make a movie version of my favorite book. And plus, I love the miniseries. I have the miniseries on DVD. It is one of my favorite miniseries. That's not based on a Jane Austen or, whatever the other historical fiction romance authors. I love this book. Which actually, the funny thing is, I was afraid of clowns long before I got into this book. Before I first read this book. I was creeped out by them. And I think that's why I love, one of the many reasons why I love this book. Because, I love reading about the things that scare me the most. Unless they're, involve someone, someone getting, the way someone, getting sick of something, of a disease or something. I don't love those books. But, I think this was my first Stephen King. And this is not my original copy, because originally I had another copy of it, which I gave to my friend because I wanted a nicer copy, because my old copy was kind of falling apart. I know, why would I give that to a friend? Well, I couldn't donate it, and I didn't want to have 2 copies of the book, which, some people are willing to have 2 copies, but it was no longer a nice copy. But it was you could still read it. Which I'm hoping my friend's mom does not see that I gave her a really crappy copy, because, then it would make me feel even worse. But I didn't know what else to do with it, and I know she was curious about Stephen King, and I know she likes horror, so, and it's still, you can still read it, it's just a little, damp in some areas, and the cover is kind of torn off. I know, I am a horrible friend for doing that to her, for giving her that copy, but I don't know what else to do. But I love this book, and I love how Stephen King puts in so much detail, and he's not just a horror writer or a supernatural fantasy writer. He also writes really great, interesting characters. He really gives you background on the characters. So you spend a lot of time, that's why his books are so long, because you spend so much time on learning about the characters, getting to know them. I love it. This is the first Stephen King I read. Then I read Salem. I think Salem's Lot was the second one I read. I wonder how old his kids are now. Sorry, got sidetracked. This is such an awesome story. And this was, I don't know if this one came first or Gone with the Wind came first. But Gone with the Wind and this one are the first books that were really long that I actually finished. Unfortunately, I didn't finish within a few weeks or months or a year. It took me a lot longer to finish them because I took several breaks in between. I love this book. I love, so, sorry, this whole video is basically me talking about how much I love these books. But, they're my top 5 that I could think of, that I came up with. Okay, so that was my top 5 favorite books, that I read before Booktube, before I discovered Booktube, and before I joined Booktube. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you haven't read any of those books, although I'm sure you have read at least, with the exception of the last 2, I'm sure you read the other ones. So good, and now if you are interested, in Top 5 Wednesday, it is a Goodreads group created by Ginger Reads Laney, and is currently hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. And I will post, and if you are interested, I will post the link to the Goodreads group on this video. Right. thank you, and like I said, I hope you enjoyed that